In this video, I want to talk about basic metrics and stats that you should track if you're flipping phones and everything. Um, these metrics, you need to go over these every day. I go over these every day personally. Um, I think they're like important to really know what's going on inside of the business that you have. And yeah, it just basically lets you know like what's going on. The first one is number of items sold. So a lot of people like to have goals for a revenue, and you can increase your revenue if you increase the number of items that you sell. And that also depends on the number of items that you bought. So I think that tracking the number of items that you sold is extremely important because that's basically your revenue. If you sold 10 devices, right, today, 8-26. Let's say you sold 10 devices, 8-26, then you're going to have to know your revenue because that's your revenue. That's where all your revenue is coming from, is the devices that you sell. So number of devices is extremely important. Number of devices sold is extremely important. Also, number of devices bought is important to track as well. Let's say you want to go for a specific revenue number. Let's say you're trying to get 100K a month in revenue. Okay. You know you need to sell a specific amount of devices in order to get that revenue. So you can break down your revenue based on the number of devices that you sell every day. Let's say it takes 10 devices. I have to sell 10 devices every day in order to get 100K in revenue. Okay. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just making up a number. But I have to sell 10 devices every day in order to get 100K revenue. Then you know that you need to adjust accordingly based off the items that you buy. So you know that you need 10, so you need to buy 10 a day. So the number of items bought is important as well, because let's say you didn't reach your quota today because you only bought 3 phones when you're supposed to buy 10 in order to reach the revenue goal, if that makes sense. So your number of items bought is important. You want to track how many items you're buying, and it's going to directly correlate to how much your revenue is. So all of these metrics kind of align with each other. It's important to track. I think it's important to track the average number of days it takes you to sell the device. So let's say you bought a device 8/27 or 8/26. You bought a device today. You need to record how long does it take you to actually get your money back. I think that's important to track as well. Like the day that you bought the phone, subtracted by the date that you sold the phone, is going to tell you if you're actually moving pieces fast or not. Let's say it's taking you a long time to move those pieces, then you need to improve that in order to increase your revenue number. The faster you sell a device, the more revenue you can have every month. So I think that's important to track. You don't want to just be sitting on devices for super too long and you're not moving them. What's the point of buying a device if you can't move it? As a phone flipper, like, you should not be buying anything that you know that you cannot sell, or like you should already have a buyer in mind before you even purchase it. Don't never buy anything that you can't move. Also, how much in inventory? Let's say you start off the month, you got 20K, right? And you spent 2K one day. You spent another 2K. And then one day you spent 3K, right? So now 7K has been bought. 7K throughout the past 7 days, or throughout the past 3 days, have been bought into inventory, or it's into inventory. but you're like, bro, I just had 7K, I don't know where it's at, or something may be shipped out, or you don't know. You need to track like how much money you have in inventory, because it's basically like your net worth, not your net worth, but it's basically like what the capital that you have tied up, and the average number of days it takes you to sell a device all relates to the amount of capital that you have in your inventory. And the faster that you get money back, the more devices you can buy and the more revenue you can have. Kind of like a cycle, like a goodwill cycle. Like, you want to just keep it going. The faster you get rid of a device, the more devices that you can buy. And you're basically doing 100K revenue off the same 20K. You know what I'm saying? So um, it's good to have a good cycle of you changing out money for phones, selling the phones for more money, changing out money for phones, and just a good cycle. And you need to keep track of like all of these metrics in order to really understand what's going on, because I know it can get confusing when like you just dropped 20K in the past 5 days and you don't really know where the money went at, but you need to keep track. So yeah, these are the metrics that I think are important in order to scale and continue to like know what's going on in your everyday like flipping in business.